All right, I'm starting to change my mind about the anti-gravity A1 360 camera drone.
Welcome to the world of anti-gravity. What you're about to see is just the beginning. Meet Anti-Gravity A1, the world's first 360 drone.
So I recently made a video about this summer's awesome tech that are coming out. I took a deep dive into the DJI Osmo 360 compared to the incumbent Insta360 X5. I also looked at the Oakley's version of the Meta Smart Glasses compared to the Ray-Ban Smart Meta Glasses. And the last bit that I was looking deeply into was Insta360's incubator company Anti-Gravity and their drone with 360 camera on it. Again, this technology is not new. A couple of years ago, Insta360 had this backpack, this additional module that you can attach to the Air or Air 2S systems, and that can be a drone with a 360 camera on it. And the benefits of that is something that can be useful for the ones that will be able to kind of maximize that type of flight footage. But me as a prosumer, as a say semi-professional hobbyist, I don't even maximize my current drone, let alone possibly this new drone that will need an additional step to be able to reframe your cameras. But the more that I see other people's initial review, like the beta tests of the anti-gravity Air 1, past couple of weeks, we've been inundated with so many of those review videos. The more that I realized that I did not have all of the information that I needed to make a proper judgment, primarily of which I never realized that instead of looking at this as a traditional drone where you have joysticks to fly the drone and maneuver it, the platform of the anti-gravity Air 1 is more of an FPV system with the goggles and joystick. And that just excited me even more. I never flew an FPV drone. So I still don't have any of the habits of how traditional FPV drones are being flown right now. And with the anti gravity Air 1, because it is 360, it is just a much more cohesive and user friendly system in terms of using your head or what you are seeing in combination in how you're flying to not only see what options you might have in air, but also maneuver it in ways that traditionally you need a little bit more expertise to do so in terms of flying FPV drones. So that's reason one. I've never flown an FPV drone. I've always been interested in it. I just never really wanted to invest that much money on for what I consider a toy in my aspect because it's not what I will traditionally shoot, or it's not going to be something that will shoot a lot. However, combining that with the 360 camera, being able to reframe what you're shooting, this little clip from Jesse Driftwood is the one that really pushed me over the top.
This right here is one single shot. It's about 10 or 15 seconds long of me flying in a straight line. And I want to show you just how many different types of shots you can put together from that one take. This could be a bird's eye view shot looking down. It could be pushing in or pulling backwards. This shot can look up and examine the architecture. You could focus on the birds that are flying by or the runners down beneath. There's infinite possibilities because the camera is capturing absolutely everything all at once.
He's flying the drone in one route, and in that one route, you can reframe that same flight, getting multiple footage out of that. That's how I usually use my Insta360 X5, where I can do a front facing and a back facing shot and then kind of cut in between those two angles. Or let's say if I'm using it in an interview or a podcast setup, with one camera, I can have one angle focusing on one subject and one angle and reframe that footage and focus it on the other subject. So that just makes it a little bit easier to have multiple point of views in an efficient way. So in lesser flights, in lesser passes in terms of a particular area, you can have multiple cuts in it. And usually, unless you're an extreme aerial cinematographer or a really professional videographer, the way that you can circumvent possibly some not highest quality footage is just have a lot of different angles, cut to different things, make it interesting for the viewer. And I think that one little snippet of Jesse Driftwood's video is the one that kind of made me look at it as, all right, the only thing that will stop me from getting the anti-gravity A1 once it comes out is the price. If it's sub $1,000, if it's $900 and below, I'm a definite in. If it's around $1,000 to $1,100, that requires a little bit more savings. So I might, wait a little bit more, maybe see videos of actual non-professional people's reviews on the anti-gravity A1. But if it's like $1,200 and above, much like all the other prosumer FPV drones that have come out the past couple of years, then that's a little bit more of a difficult outlay, particularly for a version one of a camera, let alone a drone camera. So those are my thoughts. I feel that, software wise, it's going to be running on the Insta360 platform, which I'm very familiar with. So I think I'll be able to do those multiple angles in a single flight around a particular subject of interest. So I think that's going to be fun and will elevate my B-roll, particularly when next spring comes rolling around or next summer comes rolling around. I live by the park. I can do a lot of unique angles with a drone in lesser flights and just like more post processing, so that I think you'll be able to recycle a lot of footage a lot more using this platform. And the only limit will be the price. So I'm really hoping that this is, sub $1,000, around 800, I think would be fair, because if you've seen any of the review videos, the anti-gravity A1 is almost like the Mini 4 Pro, like the body of it, the camera, of course, unique, and there are additional foot stands to protect the lens at the bottom as well. But the size, the shape, how it really looks like the Mini 4 Pro with a different head on it. So the Mini 4 Pro was very affordable for what it is, for the quality of footage that you can get, and even the amazing remote control with the big screen. But I just feel that even with a smaller body, that 360 lens will be a premium, plus the fact that you'll need goggles and a different format of remote control that might pump the price closer to or above $1,000. And I haven't even talked about the fact that they thought about the VR goggles to have like an outward facing external monitors.
The idea behind the front facing display here is that you could have other people seeing what you're getting. I guess it's kind of like a tiny director's monitor.
Other people can see what you are seeing. So that's, I don't shoot with partners or with other people, so that's moot to me. But that's going to be very, very useful if you have a director telling you where to look, where to fly, how to fly it. And in combination of controlling the camera with the headset and the controller, you'll have even more freedom of movement. All in all, they made it very, very easy, very user friendly to fly that drone, particularly for first time flyers in this totally new format. So I'm very excited to hear more about the anti-gravity A1. They have like a creator program where you can apply to get test units and then really test it hard. And then if you figure out bugs or features or uses, your feedback is useful to them, you get a share of $20,000. So I myself applied for that program. I don't think I'm going to get in it. I'm not a creator where I get free cameras like that. But regardless, I'm excited about this format. I'm excited about unlocking this multiple POV in post feature of a drone. In my head, I think it's going to be extremely useful, but it might not. It might be just like you're not saving that much time if you just flew it a few more times and pointed the camera differently. But the proof is in the pudding, and I think this is going to be a fun new gadget tech toy to play around with once it is in the hands of the consumers. Right. So that's it for this video. Just a quick follow up on my thoughts about the anti-gravity A1. So if you have any thoughts about the anti-gravity A1 or any other 360 camera or drone cameras, leave them down in the comments. Let's discuss. Are you considering getting the anti-gravity A1? Are you sticking with your normal traditional drone, or do you care? Is this something that is just for a niche segment of the photography and videography community? Let me know down in the comments. And thank you very much for watching. And again, see you in the next one.